Many has asked what apps I use on my iPhone 6s Plus and my iPad Air 2. So I would like to show you which apps I have on my home screen on my iPhone 6s Plus in this video. And I actually have two home screens because the iPhone 6s Plus is so huge. So I have to organize my apps to the lower part of the screen. So I use two home screens for that. And also the new 3D touch feature is very useful, and I want that on my lower part on the home screen too. So my favorite apps is on two home screens on the three lowest rows. So for example, I can do this on the Twitter app. As you can see, I have a 3D touch menu, and I can also do this on the Flipboard app. That's why I want these apps at the lower part, at the bottom on my home screen. So, on my first home screen, I have a Google Inbox email app. Yes, I know that I have used a lot of different email apps, and Spark, for example, is one of my favorite email apps, but Inbox by Google is the one I use now for Gmail. And Outlook from Microsoft is the one I use for my work email, for example, my Exchange account. And I also have the OmniFocus app, and that is for my GTD, the Getting Things Done methodology. And I use OmniFocus a lot. Without that app, I can't be so organized and productive as I am now. And I also have Drafts. That is my note-taking app. I really love this simple but very advanced note-taking app. It's simple because you have a simple UI when typing your note, but you can do different actions that are very, very advanced. Here you can see the actions I have in Drafts. So this note-taking app is very, very advanced. I like that a lot. What's more, on my first home screen, I have iMovie, as you can see down here. And that's because I use iMovie a lot when doing these YouTube videos. And as you can see, I have the Google Plus app at the bottom here. But Google has ruined the Google Plus app with the latest app update. I've done a video about that. You can see that on my YouTube channel. I also have the iMessage, the messaging app from Apple. As you can see, I do a lot of iMessage. I almost never talk in my phone. I never use the phone feature on my iPhone. So I do most texting, I do email and messaging. So that's why it is down in the lowest row. And I also have the camera app, and that is also for this 3D touch menu that you get with the camera app. It's awesome to record a fast video, for example. And I have Flipboard. Flipboard is one of the social networks I use. I use it a lot, and I have at the moment 5,420 followers and a lot of subscribers of my magazines there. So I like Flipboard a lot. It's a great social network with comments and sharing and all that. So I like that a lot. I also use it as my news reader. So it's very easy to find articles to read and share and blog and do videos about. And I also have the YouTube Studio app, the Creator Studio app from Google, and that is because I am a YouTuber, as you know, and in that app I can see all the comments on my videos, the analytics and statics on my videos and so on. And I also have the Facebook app here, and that is mainly for the 3D touch menu very easy to do something fast on Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook user though. I don't use that social network so much. And on the first home screen I also have the Hooks app. Hooks app is a great notification app. So you can customize your notifications and choose which services, news and weather and so on that you want to have notifications from. So I like that app. And I also have the Puffin Web Browser. It's a web browser for having a desktop experience on your mobile device. It actually uses a desktop web browser over a server, so you can do all the things you do on a desktop. It even has a mouse and trackpad support. As you can see here, a trackpad and a mouse pointer, so you can use that so you get the full desktop experience. So that's why I have this Puffin Web Browser, and it's very important to me. I use it to do all the desktop things I can't do on iOS. For example, designing my website and doing some moderation on Google Plus now when Google has destroyed the Google Plus app. And also have Day One. It's a great journaling app. If you are into journaling and want to write down everything you do every day and so on, then check out Day One. It's an excellent app. And I also have the Facebook page app for managing my Facebook page. I have a Swartling Network Facebook page that you can subscribe to. And I recently switched from Pocket to Instapaper as my read later service, and that is actually because I can use it together with my Apple Watch. So Instapaper has an Apple Watch app, so I can listen to my articles that I save in Instapaper and use the Apple Watch as a remote for those. It's awesome to do, for example, in my car when driving to work, for example. And I also have Apple's iBooks apps. I read a lot of books. One of my biggest interests is books, and I love ebooks, so that's why iBooks is very important to me. And of course I have Safari, and I have Overcast app, podcast app. I listen to a lot of podcasts too, and Overcast is the best podcast app available. And I also have Instagram for sharing some of my photos. And I have the Photos app, and I have Google Photos. I use Google Photos instead of iCloud photo library. So I want to store all my videos and photos for free, and that's why I have Google Photos there. It's very important for me, that app. I store all my short video clips in Google Photos too, to be used in Imovie. The only drawback with that is that I have to download the videos from Google Photos app to my device before I can use it in iMovie. But it's very, very good to have all my clips stored in Google Photos. And I also have Editorial. It's the best writing app, the best editor you can have, the best text editor and so on. You can't have a better text editor really, because Editorial is so advanced to writing. You can do a lot of cool stuff. You can have a different workflows, actions and so on to do a lot of stuff automatically for you. So for example, if I type a name of an app, I can link to that app directly with a workflow here. So I think Editorial is the best app on iOS really. And I have settings and App Store and calendar and watch. I use actually Apple's own calendar app because I use OmniFocus for most of my tasks and task management and so on, so I don't use calendar so much. So that's why the Apple calendar app is good enough for me. My second home screen then. Just Press Record is one of the best new apps I have bought, and it's actually better on the Apple Watch than it is on the iPhone or iPad. It's an audio recorder that you can easily record audio with. For example, by just hitting that, I can record what I say at the moment in this video. And immediately after, it's stored in iCloud and synced to all my devices. So if I record audio on my Apple Watch, it syncs to my iPad and iPhone through iCloud. So that means that I can record audio on my Apple Watch everywhere, anywhere, anytime. And then later use that audio in a video in Imovie, for example. So I can highly recommend the Just Press Record app. I have a video on my channel that show all the features in Just Press Record. And I also have Nuzzle. It's a news reading app. I get a lot of good news in that app. It's based on what people like on Twitter and Facebook, so you get the best news at the top. So I like Nuzzle a lot. And Nuzzle looks like this, as you can see. I can choose 8 hours. You can see the news from the last hour by doing that. And I can choose 4 hours or anything you want, really. So that's really good. And I have Garageband here, as you can see. Garageband is for recording audio for me. I don't use it to create music much. I do recordings for podcasts and videos sometimes in Garageband. And I have an awesome app here called Mouse Pro. Mouse Pro. And that is a remote app for my Mac. Now I'm connected to my Mac and I can navigate the mouse pointer with this touchpad up here, and I can use this as a keyboard so I can type in an app on my Mac. So I have my Mac connected to my HD TV and using it as my media center. So if I want to go to a streaming service in a Safari web browser on my Mac, I can type in the URL or search in Google and so on by using the keyboard. And I can navigate between apps and scrolling web pages and so on with the touchpad. And it also supports 3D touch, and that's really cool. So Mouse Pro is a very important app for me. And I also use Buffer to send a message or a tweet or something to different services and scheduling it. So I can type a tweet now, but it will be tweeted out later on in the night, for example, if I want, and so on. So that's why I use Buffer. iThoughts is a mind mapping app. It's an awesome app. It's an awesome mind mapping app that you can do different mind maps as you want them and so on. And I use it mostly for GTD and stuff. I do GTD articles, for example, as a mind map first, and then export that mind map as markdown code, and then blog that code to my website. I like iThoughts a lot. And ScanBot is to me the best scanning app for iOS. I use it a lot to scan in documents, receipts, and a lot more papers that I don't want to store. I store all my papers that I get in ScanBot instead, and I can send from ScanBot to Evernote, Microsoft OneNote, and a lot more services and apps if I want. And it also do some OCR scanning, so it converts scanned text to real text. And of course I have the YouTube app, and I have a real GPS navigation app called Navigon. And I also use the Facebook Messenger app sometimes, and I have the Google Chrome web browser and also Picasa web albums, and that's a very important app for me because with that app I upload images that I want to blog. So I upload image to web albums and then copy the URL from web albums and paste it into my blog post, and that's the way I do it because it's free. You can upload as many images you want to Picasa web albums, and it also syncs with Google Photos, so all the photos you have in Google Photos you can use in a blog post, for example, through web albums. And I have the Apple Watch app, and I have also BitTorrent Sync, and that's an awesome service and app too, because all the external hard drives, for example, I have connected to my Mac at home or to my Airport Extreme router, for example, I can sync with my iPhone and iPad. So I have all the files that I have stored on these hard drives I can get to through BitTorrent Sync. And that's awesome because then you can do your own cloud storage with BitTorrent Sync, and it's free. So go check that out. And I have the Apple Watch activities to see how good I am to do my fitness and so on. And I don't use that app so much because I see this directly on the Apple Watch instead. And I also have Google's YouTube Capture app. I don't use that anymore, so basically I could just delete that app. And I have the iTranslate app, and that's for translating text between different languages and so on. And I also have my Bank ID app to do some identification on different services, for example, my bank. And I have Clips. It's a clipboard manager app for iOS that stores all the things I copy into the clipboard. It's an awesome app. And I have Symbols. I don't use that. I have Yahoo Weather, and that's only to have it on my Apple Watch, really. And I have Workflow. I don't use it much on my iPhone. I use it more on my iPad. And I have Apple's Health app to see how I sleep and so on through my Apple Watch. So this is what I use on my two home screens on my iPhone 6s Plus. As you can see down here, I have a lot more home screens, but that is apps that I don't really use much and so on, and don't use so often, and maybe just testing and so on. So this is the one I use the most and is most important to me. So, okay, bye.